Hi there, and welcome to Chapter 6, Section 2, Numerical Expressions, which is also about order of operations. This is going to start on textbook page 441 and go through textbook page 444. You should be in your Volume 2 textbook now, so that brings me to this second little slide here. So notice it says Course 2, that's the textbook that you should have received, and you should now be on textbook page 441. Just a reminder, since we're in a brand new textbook now, there's no using pens, no markers. You can use colored pencils to accentuate with color. You should be doing all of the got it problems with regular pencil and an eraser. You should be watching your videos in a quiet location, listening to them, and working the problems out as I work them out on screen. We're going to go ahead and start on textbook page 441. So take a look here. You should see this hockey girl here. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what this is all about. The first part says scan the lesson and predict 2 things that you'll learn about numerical expressions. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so in the book, throughout your scanning of the lesson, you should have seen that we're going to be learning how to properly use the order of operations. And this is just going to extend past what you already know about it. And we're also going to learn how to write numerical expressions. So let's get started. All right, this first problem under the real world link says the table shows the cost of different snacks at a concession stand at the school hockey game. So you see that popcorn is $2, juice or soda is $1, and hot dogs are $4. So the first picture is basically asking you how much would it cost for 3 buckets of popcorn. So you can just write a little 2, a little 2, and a little 2 here so that you can kind of in your mind go, okay, that should be $6. Perfect. Now let's look at the hot dogs. I'm going to change colors here, if only slightly. Remember, our hot dogs are $4, so it will be 4, 4, 4, and 4, which means we will spend $16 on hot dogs. So then it says find the total cost of buying 3 boxes of popcorn and 4 hot dogs. So you're going to take that 6 and you're going to add it to the 16, and then you're going to get a total of $22. So now you should have that we are going to spend $22 on the 3 buckets of popcorn and 4 hot dogs. Then it says, what operation could you use in exercises 1 and 2? And explain how to find the answer to exercise 3. So basically, you're going to use multiplication in 1 and 2. So we're going to use multiplication in 1 and 2 to find the total for each. So what we mean by that is we'll multiply the cost of each popcorn bin by 3 bins. So that's how we got the 6. And then we're going to use addition for number 3 to be able to find the total. So that's where we add the 6 plus the 16. Pretty simple. Let's go ahead and move forward. Now we're looking at textbook page 442, and at the top it should say order of operations. So go ahead and turn your page now so you're looking at that page. So at the top it says order of operations. Simplify the expressions inside grouping symbols like parentheses. That's the first one. Find the value of all the powers. That's the second one. Multiply and divide in order from left to right. This is super, super important. Go ahead and put a box around in order from left to right. And then it says to add and subtract also in order from left to right. So those 2 big boxes are probably where people make the most mistakes. So I just want to make sure to point those out. And many of you have already heard the expression, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we're just going to elaborate on that. So this is the order that you're supposed to be working in. Now, when I write PEMDAS, I write it like this so that you can see the please and the excuse. Those actually take precedence over one another. So that means all the parentheses or brackets have to be done first. Then all the exponents have to be done second. But the multiplication and division, I write on the same line because you don't necessarily have to multiply before you divide. But you do need to get rid of all the multiplication and division in the problem, starting from the left and moving to the right, just like you read a book from left to right. And then you can move on to addition and subtraction. And then it's the same thing, starting from the left, moving to the right. So subtraction doesn't come before addition, and division doesn't come before multiplication. You have to make sure you do all the multiplication and division before you do the addition and subtraction. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that we're going to have a few opportunities to look at that. So it says a numerical expression like 3 times 2 plus 4 times 4 is a combination of numbers and operations. So you want to go ahead and underline a combination of numbers and operations. The order of operations tells you which operation to perform first so that everyone finds the same value of the expression. So this one tells you which operation to perform first. That should be your basic definition for order of operation. So now let's go ahead and look at example 1. Now I realize that example 1 is done for you, but I also need you to write everything that I write on the screen. So you want to make sure now that you're writing what you see me write. So the first thing I'm going to do over here in the lined margin is I'm going to write the problem. And now that you've written the problem, I'd like you to write it like this. And I really do want you to have your colored pencils out. If you have highlighters, you can use those, but I really prefer colored pencils because highlighters bleed through the page. So if you have your colored pencils out, let's go ahead and work on this first. So what we want to look at is we want to go down our order of operation and say, okay, do we have any parentheses? We don't. Do we have any exponents? We don't. Do we have any multiplication or division? In this particular problem, we don't. So then the next one is, do we have any addition or subtraction? We do. Now notice in the problem, subtraction comes first, and this problem is specifically so that you understand that you subtract and add from left to right. It's not necessarily addition has to come first. So I want you to put a box using a colored pencil. I'd like you to put a box around the first thing that you're going to process. In this case, it's going to be 10 minus 2. So 10 minus 2, use that same color. 10 minus 2 is 8. And then you're going to go back to your regular color to copy the rest, plus 8, which was already up there in your original problem. So now we have a new problem, which is 8 plus 8. And then I want you to use another color to go ahead and put a box around the new part that you're going to process. Now, since there's only 8 plus 8 left, that's what you process. So then you get an answer of 16. So 8 plus 8 is 16. So that is the correct order of operations to perform this problem in. You want to make sure that you have that off to the left. All right, so now we're looking at example 2. So for example 2, you're going to want to do the same thing. Off to the left, you're going to want to copy the problem. And we're going to refer back to that, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally again. So do we have any parentheses? No, we don't. Do we have any exponents? No, we don't. Do we have any multiplication or division? Yes, we do. So let's first put a box around the multiplication or division so that we know what we're doing first. So then we're going to copy anything that is just there, which is that 4 plus. That doesn't get touched because that's not what we're processing. Then we're going to do the 3 times 5, which gives us 15. So make sure that you copy that. And then the next step, since we only have 2 numbers left, we're going to go ahead and box all of that. And then we're going to add them together. And 4 plus 15 is going to give us 19. So you can see that you should get an answer of 19. Please make sure, even though this is done for you, that you do it the way that I've shown you here on the side and that you're using colored pencils. Now I'd like you to try the on your own A. So for on your own A, you want to start by writing the problem just like we did in the other examples. So you're going to start by writing 10 plus 2 times 15, and then you're going to go from there. So you want to pause your video now and make sure that you work that problem out. Excellent, welcome back. Hopefully you did well. Please excuse, there are no parentheses and no exponents. My dear, so that means we have some multiplication that we need to work on. So we're going to put a pink box around that 2 times 15. And then when we go to recopy our problem, we're going to copy the 10 plus because nothing changes with that. And then 2 times 15 is going to give us 30. So we're going to write our 30 right there. Then we're going to go ahead and put a box around the last 2 numbers that we need to process now. And those last 2 numbers, 10 plus 30, is going to give us 40. So then in our final answer here, we're going to write 40 on line A. So hopefully you got that correct. You want to move on to B now. Push pause and work on B. All right, welcome back. Now you're looking at 16 divided by 2 times 4. So just like before, we're going to want to go ahead and put a box around what we're doing first. No parentheses, no exponents, multiplication and division. Well, we can see here that we have division starting with 16 divided by 2. Notice multiplication is at the end, but remember, multiplication doesn't take precedence over division. You just need to make sure that you do all the multiplication and division together before you add and subtract. So 16 divided by 2 should give us 8, and then we're going to copy the rest of the problem, which was times 4. Now we have 8 times 4, which is what we have left. We're going to put a purple box around that, and 8 times 4 is 32. So for B, you should have gotten an answer of 32. So you want to make sure that you write that down now. All right, great. Now you should be looking at textbook page 443 with me now. We're looking at parentheses and exponents. So the problems are going to get a little tougher now. So it says expressions inside grouping symbols, such as parentheses, are simplified first. So let's go ahead and make a big deal about that. Expressions inside grouping symbols, such as parentheses, brackets are also grouping symbols, are simplified first. Follow the order of operations inside the parentheses. That's important. What we're saying here is within the parentheses, it's like its own little town, okay? Within that town, you need to follow the order of operations there too. Order of operations. okay? So within the town, you need to do the same. And then it says, for example, in the expression 3 plus 4 squared plus 5, you'll need to find the value of 4 squared first because exponents come before addition. So that comes before you can add the expression inside the parentheses. So it says, why is it important to have the order of operation? Well, duh, it's important so we all get the same answer, right? So I've added that there. It's important so we all get the same answer. So you want to make sure to add that too. Now let's go ahead and look at number 3. So for number 3, just like before, even though they've already done it for you, I need you to copy the problem off to the side. Now I want you to copy the problem off to the side. I'm writing it below. You could also use a sticky note if you need to. I'm writing it below so that I have enough room to show you large enough on your screen. So let's go ahead and start, and I'll also just go ahead and write this, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally again over here. You might want to have that in nice range so that you can be sure that you can refer back to it. So let's go ahead and look for any parentheses. Well, right away, I see the parentheses around 9 minus 6. So you want to put a box around that right away. You're going to copy everything else that is not part of what is boxed, just as it is. So 20 divided by 4 plus 17 times, now I'm going to change colors back to pink. 9 minus 6 is 3, so I'm going to put a 3 there. Now I'm going to put a box around whatever I'm processing next. So, are there any exponents? No. Is there any multiplication or division? Yes. Now with multiplication or division, you have to remember you're going to do it from left to right, and you're only processing one thing per line. So 20 divided by 4 gives us 5, and now everything else is exactly the way that it was, plus 17 times 3, okay? Now we still have, do we have any multiplication or division left? Yes, we do. We still have multiplication with 17 times 3, so we need to put a box around that. We're going to copy the 5 plus, just as it was. Off to the side in a different color over here, I'm going to go ahead and multiply 17 times 3, and that gives me 51. So now I found out that my answer here should be 51. And notice all my colors are matching, so you can see exactly what I changed from line to line. And then my very last step here is going to be to add 5 plus 51, which should give me 56. So as you can see, we got the same answer that the book got, and we got 56. You want to make sure that you have shown your work the way that I've shown you here, and that you've used colored pencils to do so. All right, great. Now let's go ahead and look at 3 times 6 squared plus 4. There are no parentheses, so then we go directly to exponents. So I'm going to put a box around that. I'm going to copy the rest of the problem as is. 6 times 6 is going to give me 36. Be sure not to make that common error of just multiplying by 2 because that is not 6 squared. So now we've taken care of our exponents. Now we need to go on to multiplication or division. We do have multiplication or division here, which is the multiplication. So we need to multiply 36 times 3. I'm going to do that off to the side. Actually, I moved that over here so that I could have enough room for the other problem. So we got 108. So in yellow, I'm going to put 108 right here. Then I'm going to go back to white because we're going to just be adding the plus 4 right there. And then our very last step is going to put a box around the whole thing. 108 plus 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we should get an answer of 112. And if you look at their answer, they also got 112. Let's go ahead on and look at number 5. So the first thing that we've done is we've copied the problem. Now we want to put a box around our first process. So since we have some parentheses right here, we're going to put a box around the parentheses. We're going to copy everything as is, 5 plus, and then this is going to be times 2. And now I'm going to switch to yellow and go, okay, now I need to do stuff that's inside the parentheses first. So I might still need to have the parentheses for one more step. And I go, okay, 8 times 8 gives me 64. And then I'm going to have minus 2 in here. And remember, I'm still going to have to process this again because I had a step within a step. That was our little town. So now on the next line, we're going to copy again the 5 plus. 64 minus 2 gives me 62. So I'm going to write that in purple. And then times 2. So now we've processed everything in the parentheses first. Now we need to look to see what happens next. Well, we have multiplication still here. So let's multiply off to the side 62 times 2, and that gives us 124. So that means we've got this 5 here plus, and then in orange I'm going to do 124. And then you should see a final answer. Let's go ahead and use our bright pink right here. 124 plus 5 should give you 129. So you want to make sure that you got that there. Okay, so make sure you have 129 there for your answer. All right, so now you want to go ahead and pause your video in just a moment, and you're going to want to write your original problem just like I've been doing. If you need to add stickies, you can do that, but you want to make sure to write your original problem so that you can then show all your work. Go ahead and push the pause now. All right, so this is an awfully long problem, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Parentheses is our first one in the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So in yellow here, I'm going to put a box around this parenthesis that we have. Then I'm going to copy everything else as is. So I've got 25 times what's in my parentheses. 5 minus 2 is 3. So in yellow, I've now got 3. And then I'm just going to keep copying everything else as it was. So now we're done with that first line. Remember, only process one thing per line. So now parentheses, exponents, we don't have any exponents. Multiplication and division, we do have that, and we're going to process that from left to right. So 25 times 3 is our next thing. 25 times 3 gives us 75. Then we're going to copy everything else as it was, divided by 5 minus 12. Then the next line, we're going to still be with multiplication and division, so we're going to take 75 and divide it by 5. So off to the side, I'm probably going to want to go ahead and do that division. You get 1, 5, 2, drop the 5 here. So that's going to give you 15. So now we're going to write 15 here and minus 12. And we're in the home stretch now, so we're going to go into orange and go 15 minus 12 gives me 3. So you want to make sure that for C, you got 3. Hopefully you guys all did that well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at D. Okay, so as you can see, we have the 24 divided by 2 cubed plus 4. So the first thing we're going to want to process is the parenthesis, because remember, parenthesis comes before exponents. So we're going to copy the 24 divided by just as it is. Then in pink, I'm going to switch. Now keep in mind, we're going to actually have to have this parenthesis still here again, because the only thing that we're processing is this 2 cubed. Remember, 2 cubed is 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So that becomes an 8 plus 4. And now we're going to have to put another box around that same parenthesis so that we can finish processing the parenthesis, because this was the town within a town example. So now we have 24 divided by, so in yellow, 8 plus 4 should give me 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12. And then our very last step here, we're going to go ahead and put a box around the only 2 numbers we have left, and 24 divided by 12 is 2. So you should have gotten an answer for D of 2. Hopefully you did well. All right, we're in this home stretch here, guys, but this is a very important example, so you want to make sure to still pay close attention. Textbook page 444, let's go ahead and look at the top. It says to write an expression for the total cost of 5 lotions, 2 candles, and 4 lip balms. Then find the total cost. So this is a 2-part problem. So that's the first thing that you're going to want to write here. That means you have a 2-part answer. So make sure to add that here at the very top so you don't forget. Because when we get to the practice, you're going to want to look back on this example. This is usually the hardest one, okay? So this says to write an expression for 5 lotions. So the lotion is $5, and we have 5 of those. 2 candles, so now we have candles. We need 2 of those. And 4 lip balms. So these are the lip balms, and we need 4 of those. So now let's go ahead and look at how we need to write that expression. So we have 5 lotions that cost $5 each. That's for the lotion. Then we need to add that to, we need 2 candles that cost $7 each. So I'm going to change to a different color, times $7 each. And then we're going to add that to 4 lip balms, let's do that in orange, 4 lip balms that cost $2 each, okay? So now when you look at this, this is not exactly what the expression will look like, because the expression won't have any of the symbols in it, like the dollar signs. So when you look at it, you kind of want to look at these in groups. So the 5 times 5 can actually be written as 5 squared. Then you're going to have plus 2 times 7. And this will often be written in parentheses, but right now we could just have it like this, plus 4 times 2. Whoops, let me get back to orange here. Okay, so this is a nice expression for you. So then you want to start simplifying. So let me first note that this is the expression. Okay? Then you're going to go ahead and simplify. So 5 squared will give you 25. Oops. Then you're going to multiply 2 times 7, which should give you 14. And then you're going to multiply 4 times 2, which should give you 8. So now you're going to add all 3 of those together. 25 plus 14 should give you 39, plus another 8 gives you a total of 47. So your final answer here is going to be $47. So you have this answer, and then you have this answer, the expression and the total cost. Go ahead and pause the video now and try the on your own. All right, great, welcome back. It says Alexis and 3 friends. So how many people is that? That's going to be 4 people, so don't forget that. Each person buys a pretzel for $4, a pretzel, so that's 1 pretzel for $4. So we're going to do hold on. So they buy a pretzel for $4, then they buy sauce for $1, and they buy a drink for $2. So now we need to write an expression to find the total, an expression for the total, and then to find the total cost. So just like we did before, I'm going to change this up into 3 different colors now. So since there are 4 people, and each of them bought a pretzel for $4, we're going to write that here, plus, again, there are 4 people, and each of them bought sauce for $1, so that's going to be times 1, plus, then you have 4 people again, and each of them bought a drink, so you have 4 times 2. So now we're going to simplify it into an expression that doesn't have any symbols. So remember, 4 times 4 can be written as 4 squared plus 4 times 1 plus 4 times 2. Okay, so this is going to be your expression. This is the first part of your problem right here. That's the answer, the first part of your answer. And then the next part is going to be where you solve it. So 4 times 4 gives you 16, plus 4 times 1 gives you 4, plus 4 times 2 gives you 8. So now you're going to add all those together. 16 plus 4 is 20, plus 8 gives you $28. And this is also your final answer. So both of those need to be boxed because they both actually go here for your answer line. Be sure you have that now. You made it to the end, so you're going to work on textbook page 444, numbers 1 through 4. And I do need to see you with your colored pencils. You have to use the colored pencils, and you need to box and show each line. Okay, so colored pencils, box, and show each step. Okay? Then it says, it's got a little funny meme at the end. You came to class without a pencil? No. All right, we'll see you next time.